what it's like to feel these feelings. My life's in jeopardy, burning cold.
Keith Moon was the heartbeat of the most dangerous band in rock history. And when that heartbeat stopped, the band never fully recovered. This is a story of The Who, and what Keith Moon's destruction cost all of them. The Who did not arrive quietly. By 1965, Pete Townshend, Roger Daltrey, John Entwistle, and Keith Moon were already being described by British music press as the most violent live act in rock and roll. Townshend smashed guitars. Daltrey swung his microphone like a weapon. Entwistle stood completely still and played bass lines so complex they belonged in jazz. And Moon detonated behind the drum kit like a man who had never been told the word restraint. Together, those four people created a sound that was aggressive, theatrical, and entirely their own. Albums like My Generation in 1965 and The Who Sell Out in 1967 established them not just as a band, but as a statement. By 1969, Tommy, their rock opera, proved they were capable of genuine artistic ambition. By 1971, Who's next put them on a level very few rock bands have ever reached. Songs like Won't Get Fooled Again and Barbara O'Reilly sounded like the end of the world played by people who found that thrilling. That record is widely regarded, according to Rolling Stone magazine's greatest albums list across multiple decades, as one of the finest rock albums ever made. The chemistry that produced that music required all four of them. It was not interchangeable, but offstage, one quarter of that chemistry was accelerating toward collapse. Keith Moon's destructive behavior had been present almost from the beginning. According to Tony Fletcher's 1998 biography, Dear Boy, the life of Keith Moon, Moon's hotel demolitions, explosions, and general mayhem were not performance. They were compulsion. The band watched it. They laughed at it publicly and worried about it privately. According to Roger Daltrey in the 2007 documentary Amazing Journey, the story of The Who, the rest of the band loved Moon but felt the situation was beyond their control. There was no framework in 1967 or 1968 for addressing what Moon was. Rock culture celebrated excess. The industry handed him more rope every time he needed it. What the chaos did to The Who as a functioning unit was gradual but serious. Touring became logistically unreliable. Planning around Moon meant planning for disruption. According to account from their management, cited across multiple band histories, there were shows in the early 1970s where Moon arrived in conditions that required the rest of the band to compensate in real time, Daltrey projecting harder, Townshend pushing the arrangements to cover gaps, Entwistle anchoring everything with his bass as a foundation threatened to shake loose. Then came November 20th, 1973, the Cow Palace in San Francisco. Moon collapsed unstage mid-concert after being given food laced with a veterinary tranquilizer. Townshend walked to the microphone and asked the crowd if anyone could play drums. A teenager named Scott Halpin came down and finished the show. That night exposed something the band could no longer pretend wasn't happening. Their drummer, irreplaceable, singular Keith Moon, had been carried offstage unconscious, and who had needed a stranger from the audience to complete their concert. According to Townshend in later interviews, that night was one of the most humiliating and frightening of his professional life. The band continued. They always continued. But from 1974 onward, The Who were operating under a kind of managed tension that never fully eased. Moon relocated to Los Angeles by 1976, distancing himself physically from the rest of the band. Recording sessions became harder to coordinate. The creative momentum that had produced Quadrophenia in 1973, another ambitious, brilliant double album, according to critics widely regarded as their second masterpiece, began to slow. The Who by Numbers in 1975 was introspective and deliberately smaller in scale. Who Are You in 1978 had moments of genuine power but carried, in retrospect, the sound of a band uncertain about its own future. On September 7, 1978, that uncertainty became permanent. Keith Moon died of an accidental overdose of heminevrin, a medication prescribed to manage his alcohol withdrawal, at his flat in Mayfair, London. He was 32. The coroner found 32 tablets in his system. The same album whose back cover showed Moon sitting in a chair labeled Not to Be Taken Away had been released 3 weeks earlier. For The Who, the immediate question was brutal and simple. Do they exist without him? According to Roger Daltrey and Pete Townshend in separate interviews given in the months following Moon's death, the band spent weeks in genuine uncertainty. They had never been a band without Keith Moon. He had been there from the first rehearsal. His drumming was not a style that could be replicated. It was a personality expressed through percussion. Townshend had written guitar parts that responded to Moon's playing. Daltrey had sung against that chaos as counterpoint. The whole architecture, how The Who made music, had been built around 4 specific people. They decided to continue. In November 1978, they announced Kenny Jones, formerly of the Small Faces, as Moon's replacement. The decision was understandable. Jones was respected, professional, and known to the band personally. But according to music critics reviewing the band's work from 1979 onward, the effect on the music was immediate and irreversible. Jones played on the beat. Moon had played around it, between it, instead of it. The engine that had driven Won't Get Fooled Again and Barbara O'Reilly and The Real Me was a specific, unrepeatable thing. Replacing it with technical competence produced technically competent music, and nothing more. Face Dancers, released in March 1981, received reviews that were polite and lukewarm in equal measure. It's Hard, released in 1982, fared similarly. The ambition was present. The danger was not. Something essential had been removed from the Who's sound, and audiences and critics could feel the absence even when they struggled to name it precisely. The band's external circumstances compounded the internal ones. On December 3, 1979, 11 fans were killed in a crowd crush outside Riverfront Coliseum in Cincinnati before a Who concert. The band performed that night, not yet aware of the deaths. When they learned what had happened, according to Daltrey and Townshend in subsequent accounts, the guilt was profound and lasting. The tragedy attached itself to the band's legacy in ways they never fully escaped. Pete Townshend was by this point fighting his own substance abuse, alcohol and heroin, a battle he later documented in his 2012 memoir Who I Am. The creative force behind almost every significant Who record was struggling to function. In December 1982, Townshend announced The Who's breakup, citing exhaustion and his need to address his addiction. The Who have reunited multiple times since, for Live Aid in 1985, for a full tour in 1989, for various charity events and anniversary concerts across the following decades. John Entwistle died on June 27, 2002, in Las Vegas of a cocaine-induced heart attack on the eve of yet another Who tour. His death removed the last original member outside Townshend and Daltrey, reducing the Who's classic lineup to 2. What remains today is real but partial. Townshend and Daltrey are genuine artists. Their catalog is undeniable. But the band that made Who's Next required 4 people in a specific configuration that existed between 1964 and September 6, 1978. After that night in Mayfair, the Who became something different. Still capable, still occasionally powerful, but operating forever with the knowledge of what they had been, and what the loss of one man had permanently taken from all of them.